Here you will get start.
Waiting for people to join, so just tap it in the chat box. One, and the audio and the video both are right. So let's just wait for people to join us. Just hold on. Please be there. I'll join you in a minute, please.
It's okay. We will show you on other screen.
So is it fine? Shall we begin? Right, guys. So assuming that people are going to join us slowly, so we'll start this entire process of whatever we have today. The first thing comes is, so I'm breaking it into a couple of pointers here before we get into the selection criteria as such, right? So this, why do people look into, as the first about saying that a better over the period of time and a better career what we are looking into. Now, the other side that we can also look into is people who'd like to change the profession. Be a doctor, you might be a doctor too. There are lots of doctors who do MBB, engineers. You would have done your graduation in commerce. You can be from any profession, including a fashion design and a fashion and a jewelry design kind of a thing, right? But there is a time when people say, okay, let me understand the business side of any industry, and I would like to change my profession altogether. So that's one reason why people also look into an MBA part. Change of profession, change of industry, right? So I've been working, let's say we've been working in an IT firm, and I would is another that people like into. It's not that right after graduation people don't get job. People do get looking into, right? The career may not start the way it could start. So that's one reason where a good career start, a fast growth, and then comes the secret reason of working on erasing whatever past happened, which was not according to the plan that we did. So there's a past that's involved with all of us, including our 10th, 12th, graduation, the choice of stream that we have done during those point of time. So to erase all these things, we do choose an MBA college, or we do choose an degree like an MBA to do. Now, so these are the parameters, few parameters I'm talking about where discussion happens on, you know, who takes an MBA exam or who wants to do an MBA. Now, when we come into that part, if I look at the colleges or the process to get into an MBA, so the first basic process is I have to clear an aptitude exam. It can be a CAT, it can be a ZAT exam, it can be a MAT exam, or it can be college specific like Symbiosis, SNAP, NMIMS, NMAT, or it can be any kind of an exam that we are looking into, which typically caters to top B schools of this country. And these exams are nothing but an aptitude exam, right? So I need to clear an aptitude exam to get into an MBA college. So saying that most of the exams that we typically write are over, and few exams have already given you the score and you know where exactly you fall. So looking at the score, there are certain things that comes in mind. One is, should I use the score? And if the score is not so that very great, as per what we would have uh, assumed it to be or what we would have aspired it to be, but it's not the same anymore. So there are certain places where people start behaving and thinking of what to do next. One, should I take the score that I've got and start applying to colleges, assuming that some college will accept the score that I have? Second, should I retake these exams? Now, I know that this exams comes once every year. So should I retake this exam? Third is, should I wait for the other exam results to come? For example, an exam like MAT, which happens 4 times in a year. So I can wait till Feb to write MAT again and probably look into what my score is going to be, a better score. And there are lot number of people who say that, okay, I finished my CAT, ZAT, and whatever exams I have done, I have not done that great. So should I really look into an MBA? Should I really think of doing this, or should I drop the idea of doing an MBA, right? So there are basically 4 things that we are looking into. Now let's understand. So I'd like to quickly get into these portions before we get into selection of B-School, because all of them will lead to your selection of B-Schools. So the first thing is, should I retake the CAT and the ZAT exam? Certain parameters or certain questions you need to ask yourself is, did I do the best while I was preparing for my CAT and ZAT exam? Have I given my 100%? Most of the answers for this question is no, right? Especially when the scores are low, we always like to satisfy ourselves by saying that, no, we did not give our 100%. So the following question for that would be that if I end up giving my 100%, what do you think, or what do I think is my maximum percentile increment that can happen, right? So I may be, let's say I'm in 90, 92 percentile. Okay, maximum I probably can look into achieving a 97, 98, or even a 99. Let's say that I'm not into 90s, but I'm into 80s. Then I probably can touch base to 90s. But retaking CAT exam for someone who's below 70s, you got to think twice, because that's an investment of a year. It's a hard work of a year, and it's chasing again those same preparation or studies that you have done in the past few months or few years, and reworking on them once again for the coming 1 or 12 months. So you got to look into, do I have the caliber, do I have the capability, do I have the time, do I have the financials, and do I have the family support ultimately to get into this particular location or a place or a space where I'm planning to retake this exam. Now, if there is someone who plans to retake this exam, the only thing that I would say is, don't wait for any particular day to come, right? If you have decided, or if you're thinking of retaking the exam, go ahead and take it. Start preparing right now, and prepare the way as if you are writing or you're preparing for the very first time for this exam, right? Don't carry the burden of you already done a preparation. No, just keep it aside. Whatever you're done is done. Now start taking the preparation as if this is a fresh preparation. This is for those people who would like to retake this exam. Now, if there is someone who doesn't want to retake the exam, but thinks that, okay, let me use this particular percentile to start applying to these colleges, right? And before I enter that, then I'll come to those people who drop the idea of taking the exam. Now, drop the idea of taking any further exam. I can put them into the same category of using the current percentile to get into a college, right? Now, so let's begin with this. So how do I now that I have this particular percentile in my hand, how do I proceed in selecting college? What kind of college should I select? What should I do? Do I get a good college or not? So these are the queries that will be there in everyone's mind. So let's try to understand this, right? When an industry, so let's understand in the perspective of an industry. When an industry looks at an MBA graduate, what do they typically look into, right? So first thing they look into is obviously the brand from which the student has passed out. If the brand is of the top notch, like an IIM or an Excel or an FMS or any top 10, top 20 colleges, there's nothing much that people start questioning. There's nothing much that people start thinking. You are accepted in the corporate world quite easily. But if you are not from the tier 1, but you are from the, let's say, the tier 2, tier 3 kind of colleges, then the corporate will look into, one, what kind of structure or curriculum that you have gone through. Second, what kind of alumni do you have in industry, and what are their positions and what are their growth paths. Third, what kind of connect does the corporate has had over the past or currently with the college. So these are the three things that's seen from a corporate viewpoint to a college, right? So if I am working in one of the companies right now as a global sales head, so if I have to recruit someone who's from a B-School, I will look at mainly these 3 parameters, but rather than anything else. I would not look at your past performance. I would not look at how much percentile you got in CAT or how much percentile you got in 11th and 12th and 10th. I would not know where to look into this. I'll only look into what kind of colleges have you passed out of, what are the curriculums that you have gone through, what kind of connects does this industry have with the college, not only with the students, but the alumni as well as the professors. So let's understand certain things. How do I choose a college? First and the foremost rule of choosing a college is start doing self-research. Unless and until you do a self-research, you will never be able to select or get into a college. So how do you streamline them? First point, write down 5 locations where you are okay to go, settle, study. So that's point number 1. So first is look at a location which satisfies you. Now, when I look at a location, what are the things that I have to look into? 1, what is the population of that location? 2, what is the youth crowd in that particular location? 3, what are the kinds of industries available in that location? 4th, what are the employment opportunities in that location? 5th, what kind of B-schools exist in that location? 7th is what kind of connectivity that location has, with respect to nearby metros or nearby cities where there are lots of other industries. So what are the connects that location has? Because no industry or no corporate would like to travel a lot to a place which has very low connect and start recruiting. Now, that's a cost incurred by the corporate and which we do not want to incur it. So location is the first thing that you got to. So if you're looking into, if you're anywhere in this country, then locations like Bangalore, Mumbai, Delhi, Calcutta, Chennai, Pune, these are your primary focused location. Then the rest will follow, right? So look at the locations that you want to get into. Second, it would be so when you're doing this research, start doing research on certain parameters, and your research should be based on certain pointers. So one point we just discussed is location. Second point that you should look at is kind of faculty members in a particular institute. Now, when I say professors and faculty members, it doesn't matter how many PhDs or non-PhDs exist. What matters is, check out for how many professors are there in that particular institute who are alumni of top-notch B-schools. So let's say I have an institute ABC located in any particular location, right? Any particular metro. Now, if this ABC has faculty members from the IIMs or ISB or Excel for that matter, you know for the fact that not only the quality of teaching is going to be good, but the connect to corporate is also going to be good, right? That's actually going to be better, because once you are an alumni or of an Excel or an IIMs kind of a college, then your network is pretty high. Your connect with your own seniors, your own juniors, and your own professors, right, is very, very high. So you got to look into what kind of faculty members are available in that particular college. The next, every college has full-time and part-time faculty members coming into picture. So when I have full-timers and part-timers coming into picture, I got to look into certain things. Again, I need to look into balance of, part-timers, because getting part-timers is pretty easy. They belong everywhere. They are there everywhere. You can get part-timers who are from the IIMs. Yes, they'll come and they'll tell you. That's one good part, because it can bring a lot of connect from a student's point of view to the corporate. The second main part where you got to look into is how many full-timers are there in that particular college who are also from the top B schools. What kind of management does the college hold, right? If it's a private-based college, then what kind of a management does the college hold? And, what kind of do they come from, especially when you say, so if I have a management which contains lots of IIMs and these top-notch B schools of the country, I know that the brand is good because the connect is going to be better. So that's something that we got to look into. So location, faculty, 2 parameters. Now let's come into the main parameter that every student likes to take into. Placements. Now there is a different opinion and different structure of placements that works across colleges, right? If you go to website of almost every college in this country, everybody says 100% placements. We need to, as a student, understand what do we really mean by 100% placement. 100% placement varies, works in a different angle altogether at various companies or various colleges. So let's take a couple of examples. There can be a college which is highly rated, highly branded, very well known in the industry, which shows 100% placement. Now, the working of this 100% placement is very, very critical. And this is where probably you may have to understand. I'll spend a bit more time to make you understand what 100% placement means. Let's say there are 100 students studying in a college where, just like what happens in graduation, everybody has to write an exam and start getting percentiles and percentages, credentials. Anyone who scores less than, let's say, 60% of the exam score is not a part of placements. So let's assume that 30% of my crowd are less than 60% of academic, which means out of the remaining 70 people is whom I have to run behind placements. So I'll start placing better ones into good places. And those who come later stage where companies are not ready to pick them, I start pushing them or placing them in companies which are not worth going, companies which offer you night shifts or BPO kind of a KPO or an LPO kind of a job, companies and job profiles which you would have got otherwise if you were just a graduate too. Now, these people who start getting placed in such kind of profiles either start choosing the profile because they are hard bent for a job, or they leave the placement option. So let's say that 10 people out of the remaining 70 fall under this category. So the balance is 60. So I place 60 people in various locations and various job opportunities. And I claim to be 100% placement, because accordingly 30% or 30 people did not, they were not eligible for placements. 10 people opted out of placements. So the balance 60 is who were interested. And thus I gave placements to all those 60, and thus making it a 100% placement. So this is one category of 100% placement. The other category of 100% placements are when I place you irrespective of your performance in the college. Yes, the only matter that will impact is what kind of a profile and what kind of a salary will you begin with. Completely depends on what kind of a knowledge do you hold. And if you are not so great academically, then it means that you're not held a very good knowledge accordingly, right? So, but I will not force an industry like a KPO, LPO, BPO types onto your throat to get you placed. So I will place you in a good, decent industry, good, decent profile. But no matter where you stand in the class, you may be the last person in the class or you may be the topper of the class, I will still be able to place you. And that accordingly is the 100% placement. So whenever you look at a college which says placement is 100%, you got to do a bit more research on whether this 100% is really 100%, that is intake inflow is outflow, or is it an inflow filtered outflow, right? So you got to check this. And how do you check them? The best part to check them is randomly touch base to alumni of these colleges or randomly touch base to existing students of these colleges, right? Pick them up. You find them everywhere: Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. You'll find them everywhere. Randomly pick them, write to them, ask them their opinion, and get informations. As simple as that. So placement results are one criteria on which you choose a college. Second thing that you got to keep in mind while you're choosing a college, especially on the placement side, is don't go with what is the highest package. Don't go with highest package. I would suggest two things. One, either go with an average package. Typically, which has not placements, because when I do an international placement, I convert it into an INR and then do an average calculation. And thus, anyone who has gone into a, let's say, US dollars kind of a thing, their pricing will go very high because of the conversion rate, right? So if a college has not done an international placing, then go with the average placing. But if the college has done an international placing, then I would suggest you go with the lowest pricing, lowest placements. Because I am going to be ready for the worst scenario. So what if I start getting the lowest placement, right? I'm going to be in the worst scenario case. So look at the lowest placement part. Now let's say a college's lowest placement is 4.5 lakhs. A 4.5 lakhs against what kind of fees is the third category that you got to look into. What is the fees I'm paying to get this kind of a lowest placement? Forget the highest placement, guys, because that's quite attractive. It's like, someone showing you your goods and you get something else by the end of the day. So that's not what you're going to look into. You got to look into what is the lowest placement that happens against what is the fees that you're paid. So let's say you're paid 10 lakhs and you're getting a salary of 4 lakhs. That tells you how to calculate your ROI, the return on investment. Versus a college which asks you to pay 6 lakhs fees and their lowest salary is, let's say, 3.5, 4 lakhs, right? So you are smart enough. You guys have written CAT and ZAT, so you know how to calculate these ROI. So that's something that you got to look into. Third point of placement is what is the process involved in the placements. There are two kinds of colleges that exist. One, where placements are driven by students. Second, where placements are driven by college and college faculties. When you choose an MBA as an option, second category is ruled out. You are not supposed to pick a college where placements are driven by college employees or college people, including faculties and professors. Mainly, placement should be driven by students because they understand the pulse of the market, they understand the strength and weakness of their batch, they understand the dream of their peers. So if I am your classmate in an MBA college, and if I have to drive a placement, I exactly know what your dream is when you join an MBA college, and I will try to fulfill that dream. So that's the main category where you got to choose the process accordingly, very, very minutely looking into whether this process is driven by students. Do they have a placement committee? Do they have members which are like 5 to 10, whatever size number? It's okay, it doesn't matter. But is the placement driven by students? So that's the second thing. The process and result makes it important. The next drop down from placement that I will now take you into is an internship. There are lots of colleges which offer you internship, and internship is something that's the best that you can opt for. Now, there are three ways in which internships happen. There are colleges which offer internship right after first year before going to second year. That's a 2 to 3 months of internship, which is normally the norms of the top B schools in this country, right? Any IIMs or an Excel or an FMS will do the same thing. They'll give you a 3 month of internship right after your first year. The second kind of a college which gives you an internship after 3 months after your first year. 3 months you do an internship which is full-fledged, sometimes paid, sometimes unpaid, but it is in the industry that you like to work in. And once you finish the 3 months of internship, then they give you a 1 year of live project. So when I say live project, it means that in a week, around 2 to 3 days, you work in a company. The remaining 2 to 3 or 4 days, you study. So that's a live project. So that's the second category. The third category of student colleges are which offer you a live project before your internship begins, right? That is in your first year. Then they make you go through the internship, and then they make you go through again a live project after internship. The advantage of this is I understand the expectation of an industry well before I go to for an internship, before in the first year. So first year when I go for live projects, I understand the expectation set by industries. Then I do the the internship where I'm putting all these expectations, and then I again go for my live project, which is basically improving the work that I did during my internship. So that's a third category. Now, it doesn't matter which college is offering what, it is up to you. But then there is a fourth category college which does not offer you internship. They offer you internship of 1 month just for the namesake. Avoid such colleges. You're not going to do anything there. 1 month of internship means nothing because you're only going to spend 1 month in understanding what this company is going to do, right? So you got to look into what you want. So you definitely do not want the fourth category. The rest are fine. You can get into those kinds of colleges for internship. So we spoke about location. We spoke about the faculty members. We spoke about the full-timers and the part-timers faculty. I think you can make pointers here so that it helps you to do the exercise later on. So I repeat the pointer, right? 1, you look into location. 2, look into your teaching methodologies or basically your faculty members. 3rd, look into your part-time and full-time faculty members. 4th, look at the internship process. 5th, look at the placement results and placement process, especially keeping your eye on international placement scenario. If it is there, then go for the lowest salary. If there is no international placement in this particular college, then go with the average salary. Never ever go with the highest salary. It's a dream which happens, but it will happen. Let's assume that it's not happening, and then calculate your ROI, the return on investment. Finally, we went into internship. Then you got to look into the corporate connect. When I say corporate connect, look at what kind of companies have been coming to that college regularly. When I say regularly, it need not be since inception till date, but at least 3 times, right? If it's an old college, then at least 5 times. If it's not so old college, when I say not so old, it should be less than 10 years. When I say not so old college, then at least 3 times. So if a company has been repeating to this college for 3 times, it gives you a biggest hint that this college has a very good reputation in the corporate, and thus the companies are coming back, and the students are performing well. It's not that the college company is coming back for something else, right? Only if the students who they recruit are performing very well across the set of 3 years, that's when the company has been coming back to this particular college. And thus you got to select based on what kind of corporate connect do these colleges have. Look at a repeat customer rather than looking at their placement. Every college in the placement has only one thing: logo of companies. You don't even know whether this company has actually come, and if it has come, when was the last it came, right? So let's say I started a college in 2000, and 18 years down the line, I'm showing you Microsoft, right? You feel, wow, Microsoft comes. But when you deep, you realize that Microsoft has come only in the year 2000, and that too just to do a round of, process. It never came after that. So you cannot be a fool around to get attracted to such logos, get attracted to such company names. You got to have a bit of research done to see, irrespective of whether you know the company or not. It doesn't matter. It can be a startup, it can be a very fresh new company, it can be an e-commerce giant, or it can be a small retail or an HR consultancy kinds. But it doesn't matter. All matters is how long they have been repeatedly coming into this particular college, and that's very important. Gets into curriculum. It's very difficult to understand the curriculum because everyone has a different curriculum altogether. So the best way you got to do is take your dream college, and most of the Indians have a dream college of the IIMs and the top 10 B schools. Take the top 10 B schools, see their curriculum, and with that curriculum, connect that curriculum with the curriculum of this particular college that you're looking into. Not only doing that, but also looking forward of what additional does this college that you're applying for provides you for you to improve in 2 years. Okay, academically you will improve, guys, but academically is one thing that you're looking into, but what else is that improvement as a person? So if I'm joining a college, what improvement do I get as a person, right? I know for the fact that I have not got into the top B school, which makes me understand one basic thing: my aptitude is not that great, right? If my aptitude was great, I would have scored 99 percentile plus in CAT. My aptitude is not that great, and thus I need to keep working on aptitude, because every corporate that comes for placements later on will again test me on my aptitude. So I got to look at colleges which caters to all these basic needs for me, for my improvement, right? Academically, everyone is sound, but on the soft skill side, on the vocational training side, I got to look at what kind of college should I choose, which literally does an improvement onto my portfolio. Okay, so curriculum is one. Finally comes into affiliation. There's a huge confusion in affiliations as such, right? Should I do an MBA? Oh, this college doesn't offer an MBA. This college offers a PGDM diploma. Should I do a diploma, right? Or that there's a college which doesn't offer a PGDM. There's a college and also doesn't offer an MBA. Should I do a PGP program, which is neither a diploma nor an MBA? Oh, what should I do, right? So there is a lot of things in an affiliation. Now, let's understand affiliation as such. This probably will be useful for many of you. One, affiliation has nothing to do with the kind of placements you get. Two, Affiliation has nothing to do with the quality of education you get. 3, affiliation has nothing to do with the career growth you can get after your post-graduation. What does affiliation do? 1, if it's an MBA, it allows you to apply to a government job, right? You cannot apply to a government job if you are not an MBA. So all these, including me, all these old guys who started from the IIMs and XLR, they are not MBA graduates. They didn't get certifications of an MBA. We all got certifications as a diploma holders in management, but which means that we are not entitled to apply to government jobs. But that's okay. I have not seen a government job paying as much as a private company pays when you're an MBA graduate, right? So it's absolutely fine. PGDM is provided by those colleges which are affiliated to AICTE. So if a college provides you a PGDM, that's also great. The confusion comes in a PGP program. Postgraduate Program in Management, PGPM, is a program offered by colleges which are not affiliated to any particular body, right? You can call them as an autonomous as such, not literally. They are individual colleges which work on curriculums designed based on the industry requirement. So that's a beauty of this particular college, right? Any college that you pick which is of a PGPM. Because they are not affiliated to a body, their syllabus can be tweaked, can be redefined based on their industry requirement. So today, if my industry requires digital marketing as the major component in marketing and strategy, specialization, PGPM college can include this particular syllabus at any point of time and award you a scoring part, where most of the other colleges takes time to do this, right, as a major or a minor. So that's one advantage of an affiliation. So affiliation works only when you're looking into government jobs. If you're not looking into a government job, does not matter whether it's a PGP, whether it's just a program. A program is typically a certification, right? Then you have a degree, which is an MBA. MBA is a degree. PGDM is a diploma certificate, and PGPM is just a certificate. Does not matter what you do. What matters is from where you do it. For all your information, the top-notch B-School of this country is not IIM, Indian Institute of Management, but ISB, Indian School of Business, Hyderabad. ISB is the top college of this country, and it offers you a PGP program. It does not offer a PGDM, nor it offers an MBA program. So just imagine that the top-notch college of this country offers a PGP. So do you now realize that the program as such does not define anything, right? So it's quite simple, quite straightforward, right? So this is where we just stop on the important aspects that you got to look into while selecting a B school. I'm repeating the important aspects. Number one, start researching yourself based on certain parameters like location. Second, teaching facility, right? The faculty members, what kind of faculty members you have. Third, the balance between full-time faculty members and part-time faculty members. Fourth, the placement results and the process in which the placements is conducted, whether it's student-driven, whether it's college-driven. Fifth, the internship and the duration of the internship, right? Whether it's a 3-month internship, 1-month internship, does it have an internship with live projects following up? Is it only internship? Is the internship offered by college, or is the internship do students have to search for internship? So that's also one category that you got to look into. The corporate connect. How do you figure out the corporate connect? The corporate connect is basically what kind of companies have come to college. Then the curriculum, right? What kind of curriculum they follow? Is there anything addition which is helpful for me? And finally, the affiliation. Is it an MBA? Is it a PGDM? Is it a PGPM? Does not matter. Affiliation does not matter. So we stop here. We now have to get into what are the not so very important category that you should be very keen on, right? But before that, let me look into if you have any question on these particular parameters. But before you put on the question, please hold. Before you put on the question, there are certain things that I want you to tell. Put a question on the parameters that I have spoken about rather than putting question of whether college X is better than college Y. Because for me, college X can be better than college Y because my parameter or my preference of parameters will be different from your preference of parameters, right? For someone sitting there, your preference may be that I need a proper placement. Someone preferring their preference may be I need a institute where the peers are from the same kind of a location. So I'm a northeast person, I'm from West Bengal, I need my peers also to be from West Bengal, so my parameter priority will be there. Someone will be having a priority of, let's say I'm from a place like Kerala and I need to be, which is South India, right? So I am from a place like Kerala, I need a place where not only there are lots of other Keralites around but closer to Kerala as such. So parameters are a lot matters, right? So if you throw me a question with saying that should I select Zyme in Bangalore or should I select something in Calcutta, I will not be able to answer it because I don't even know what are your requirements. I don't even know where do you stay. I don't even know whether you're a single child, your parents are okay. I've not spoken to you, not spoken to your parents. So my choice will be very, very limited. In fact, my choice should not be the criteria in which you choose. So you got to throw up questions which are not specific to college, but specific to parameters. So I'm open, guys, couple of minutes here before we proceed further and try to close this. So throw it on to you. I'm just waiting on the chat box. So Twinkle says, how is ITM Navi Mumbai and Soil 2-year PGDM? Twinkle, I think I just answered that. I'm sorry, I read your question right now, but I guess I answered you that. I need to know more, I need to know more about what you are, what have you done, what are your plans, or why are you doing an MBA, what's your family background, what are your choices to make in life, so there are lots of parameters that comes here, Twinkle. So you got to prioritize your parameters. Based on that priority is what you got to choose. Do not choose college based on what your family members, your relatives, your friends, your cousins, everyone else or the world is talking about. I mean, world talks a lot and not everything makes sense anyway. So you got to choose based on what you have the priority on. So throw up your questions, guys. I'm looking at the chat box. So if you don't have questions, you can just type no questions. That will also make me understand that people do not have questions. Anyone? Rohan, Nirma is a very good college in terms of its brand value and its brand recognition. And Twinkle, so is ITM Navi Mumbai. Their recognition, brand knowledge, and the alumni network is pretty strong. They are good colleges that you can look into. But as I said, the other parameters works a lot, Rohan. And because, being in Ahmedabad, you do not know what kind of a role you are going to, what kind of attraction you're going to get in. Nirma, as such, has a limited industry that people walk into. You got to look into where you're coming from as a background. Where do you aspire for? As where do you aspire for? So that's something that we have to. So what I'm also going to do by the end of this is I'm also going to give you an email ID of certain people whom you can connect with, including me. You can connect with, or I'll give you my WhatsApp number. You can connect with me, and we can further talk on that, right? So this probably wouldn't be a forum where I can do a lot of individual talking, but we can always do that by after I share you the WhatsApp number of mine, so we can always talk over the WhatsApp. But when we look at colleges, so let's understand this. Most of us would like to get in colleges. Yeah, just like Twinkle says, most of us like to get into colleges where fees are not exorbitantly high and the placements are decent. The return of investment is high, better, good, right? So when I say good, at least an 85-90% return on investment is what I'm looking into. So I pay 5 lakhs for a fees, I get 4.5 lakhs as a salary, I'm good. I pay 10 lakhs as a fees, I get 7 lakhs as a salary, I may be okay, depending on what my present situation is. I pay 18 lakhs as fees, I get 10 lakhs as salary, I absolutely will not choose one, because I know that I can choose a 7 lakh package and I can reach the 10 lakh mark in the next 2 years, rather than choosing a 10 lakh package over a 10 out of 18 kind of a ROI, and my growth is almost the same. So I would always suggest a 7 out of 9 ROI better than a 10 out of 18 ROI. So that's decent. So there are colleges which are there. So location wise, it completely depends. So as I said, once we touch over a WhatsApp kind of a project, what we can look into how what kind of colleges that we can probably, or I can probably suggest you on, right? Any other query, any other question that we have? I am typing a message you guys can look into. Drop my number. Talking your number. Yours or one of those. Okay. So now let me. I have dropped my number in the chat box. You can store it. My name is Anand, and we can connect over WhatsApp. Just one request is drop a message and have some patience for me to reply, because most of the time traveling. So sometimes I probably maybe out of station, maybe out of country, so I will not be able to reply to you so soon. So that's secondary. Okay, now let's look into, so we spoke about what are the important categories that we are talking about, but now let's look into what are the not so important categories which should not at all be part of your selection process. Number one, most importantly, people's opinion. You got to have your mind, you got to have your intelligence, you got to have your maturity, and you got to have your selection. You cannot be dependent on what are people talking about this particular college, right? You talk to 100 people, you realize 50 of them know about this, 50 of them do not. What will you do? You talk to 50 people, you realize that 50 of them say good, 50 of them say bad. So it's very, very subjective, especially getting opinion from others, right? In fact, getting opinion from me is also not a good idea, but you can get information from me, right? I'm not going to give you opinions. I'm going to give you my information. You got to draft your opinion based on those informations that you are talking about. Next, that so the pointer that we spoke in the last, whether it is a degree that's recognized college, whether it's a certificate recognized, diploma holding recognized college, that's the second thing that should not bother you, unless and until government jobs is your most important criteria. So if it is not, then this is not the thing that should ever bother you on selecting your college. Third thing that shouldn't bother you is what kind of fees I'm going to spend, unless and until what should bother you is an ROI and not fees alone. That's what I'm trying to tell you, right? It is not just fees alone. Oh God, this college is charging me 6 lakhs, whereas I have a college which charges me only 3 lakhs. Let me get into a 3 lakh college. No, fees alone should not be the important category here. You have to have fees versus placement versus ROI, right? So that's very important. The third thing that's not so important is an infrastructure. You have beautiful colleges which are okay, so there is a chat question that has come. I'll come back to it. Faiz, just give us some time. So there are colleges where infrastructures are huge. Okay, they are built on acres and acres of land, and what are you going to do with it? Anyway, after 2 years, no one is going to write that particular land in your name. You got to come out of that college, right? And your placement is not dependent on the kind of land or kind of infrastructure the college is offering you. So don't bother about infrastructure. You have beautiful colleges which are built on a matchbox kind of a building. You have worst colleges which are built on gardens and palaces around. So don't go with infrastructure at all. You need infrastructure only in certain places. One, faculty. Second, quality of students. Third, size of the class. You can't have a class which is 120 students. What are you going to learn there? Size of the class. Fourth, in terms of placements, in terms of academic, in terms of job, what kind of opportunities available. That's all. Doesn't matter whether the college has hostel, doesn't matter whether the college has a lawn, doesn't matter whether the college has a gym or a sports room or a swimming pool kind of a thing. No. What matters is, yes, it should have a library. Most of the colleges do have. It should have good faculty members. It should have good classrooms. Classrooms sufficient enough for us to comfortably sit and do assignments and to work it out. It should not be a college which works from 9 to 5. Simple. The college for an MBA is a 24-hour program. It should allow a student to be there in the campus 24 hours of time, 365 days in a year for him or her to prepare. It should allow me to connect to any kind of a professor, any faculty at any point of time and get a clarity to whatever I do. So these are the infrastructure that is more bothered to me rather than does it have a pickup, does it have a drop, does it have an hostel facility, is the mess good, does the mess offer North Indian or South Indian foods, and that's the last thing that you guys have to look into. Okay. So these are things that you are not going to have in your selection chart at all. Never ever have this in the selection chart. We are not going to talk about. So certain colleges that comes in my mind, I mean, especially now that I'm in Karnataka, I'm in Bangalore. Bangalore being one particular city where the job opportunities are so very high right now, with almost major startups having its head office or working office in Bangalore. So certain colleges which comes in my mind is Zyme, right? Xavier's Institute of Management and Entrepreneurship. Symbiosis is out and MIMS is out because you need that kind of a percentile to get into that. They are not out if you're rewriting this CAT exam again next coming year. But if you're not planning to rewrite the exam, then they are out. You can look into KIMS in Harihar, Kirloskar Institute of Management Studies, which is in Harihar in Karnataka. You can look into TAPME. Obviously a good college, DFI. MIT is there, Manipal Institute of Technology. You can look into Vanguard Business School, obviously. You can look into colleges like SDM Mysore. Zyme is done. IFIM, I would still can say go ahead, but you got to look into an ROI here because IFIM, I find it to be pretty costly around. Colleges where you are not supposed to look into, I mean, I would not name it right on online forum. I would just do that suggestion when we chat, right? In Bangalore or in Karnataka or in across the country, the thumb rule you can place here is very simple. If a college is charging you more than 10 lakhs as a fees for 2 years, doesn't come in the top 20, top 30 colleges of this country, remove them from their list. Remove them from your list automatically, because a college which charges you more than 10 lakhs will not be able to place you for more than 10 lakhs, which means my ROI is not going to be what I want. So if I'm looking out to do my MBA this year, then I will ignore these colleges which has fees of more than 10 lakhs. It doesn't matter how rich I am. Please understand this. It doesn't matter whether my parents or my grandparents or my uncle is ready to finance me. What matters is what am I going to get in return when I invest such huge amount? So it's worth not investing them. If I'm planning to write this CAT exam next year again, then I will still hold them in my category list. Otherwise, I will discard them, right? So this is the kind of selection that you should do. If you were here thinking that I will give you suggestions on which college to apply, I would be the last person to do that, because as I said, each one of you have a different strength. Each one of you have a different strength. Each one of you have a different weakness. You got to select your parameters based on, or your choice based on the parameters. So that is a question that's come from FaZe. I would like to close this entire session using that question. He says that ITM Navi Mumbai offers different MBA programs, but whether every program offers average salary, in this case, can I look into the reputation of the college or reputation of the program it offers? First thing is, let's understand what's an MBA program is. An MBA is a place where I need to understand every aspect of a business administration. There are lots of colleges which offer you an MBA in a specific region. So there's a college which can offer MBA in retail management. There's a college which can offer MBA in supply chain management. There's a college which can offer you an MBA in digital marketing. You don't need, you're not looking into being an MBA of a specific region, right? You're looking into being an MBA of an industry. You're looking into understanding the business in an industry aspect. You can always specialize in supply chain. You can always specialize in retail management. You can always specialize in digital marketing, but you don't have to start your entire career in such a specialization. I would suggest that go for an MBA which offers you choice of selecting the specialization, right? It doesn't matter whether it's a single degree, dual degree. There are lots of colleges which says take dual degrees, take single degrees. Does not matter. What matters is, does the college allow me to choose the subject that I want to study? So I would like to study certain subjects from ops, from finance, from HR, from IT, from marketing and sales. Does this college allow me to do that? If it allows me to do that, I am actually doing justice to my understanding how a business works. But if a college says, okay, you are going to get a business MBA in retail management, I'm going to teach you only retail, a bit of finance, you are not allowing me to select the subject that I want. I don't mind how branded this college is, right? I will not make that kind of a desperate move. Understand, never your masters should not be your desperation. It should be your passion, and it should be a selection. It cannot be based on what is, I am in a desperate need of a master's program. No, you can always do certificates and get jobs. That's secondary. So that's one. So average salaries, high salaries, lowest salary in every college is offered for that college year pass out student. It doesn't work on, okay, you are an MBA in HR, so your placements is this. You're an MBA in marketing, so your placements is this. No, those options no college gives in publicly in the placement cell. Right? It's too tedious of a job for them, unless and until someone comes out of with such of a work. But most of the averages or the highest placements that you see around are for the college and the pass out batch. You do not actually know whether this batch has passed out in marketing, sales, operations, IT, supply chain, what they have passed out in. There can be a branch from where no placements happened. They also may be part of this average. You never know. So average of specific region, specific specialization, no, that doesn't exist in these colleges, right? Now, Faiz says, I'm interested in MBA in retail management. I got some colleges that are reputed in MBA finance, MBA marketing. As I said, Faiz, it doesn't matter. It matters. You want retail management, go ahead, take an MBA, which allows you to select subjects on marketing and sales. Take retail management and retail marketing as one of your specializations. You have done your MBA in retail management. You can get into a retail sector. Why do you have to go into the specific retail management program? Don't do that. Tomorrow, if a retail sector goes down, where are you going to move yourself? So unless and until you are like selecting things which allows you the wing to go across industry. Tomorrow, an healthcare industry wants you. What are you going to do? Are you going to sit saying that, oh, I did just a retail, I cannot apply here and lose out on the opportunity? I don't think you should be doing that, right? So rather than taking up that, you choose college which applies or which gives you an opportunity to select subjects, and thus you go that accordingly, right? So there is a number that I have already given. There's a number that we have already thrown it to you, and there's an email ID which has also been sent. So if you do not get a response from the number, you can always drop an email ID to one of my friend Ashwath, and probably he will be able to answer your queries accordingly, and you can then get in touch with me on the through WhatsApp, and avoid calls, guys, please, because I may not be able to pick those calls. So I would always suggest you WhatsApp. And through WhatsApp, if we feel that we need to talk over a call, then I'll ping you or I'll call you. That's absolutely fine. Right, guys? I hope you have got a bit of clarity on what are we looking into. Keep these parameters in mind. Don't do anything else, right? All the very best. Stay blessed. Stay happy, and connect over the phone. Thanks a lot. Have a nice Sunday. Have a nice weekend, and take care, guys.